third graders. How are you? We're going to continue this hard work. It looks a little bit more complicated than what it is, but I want to show you how to break it down and give you a couple strategies to help you set up your problems better. Okay, so if you're having trouble subtracting, renaming, or regrouping, that is a separate issue. So if you know that is part of your problem with these calculations, please practice that kind of subtraction without the units so that you really understand why are we regrouping and renaming numbers. Okay, but I'm going to go over the reasons behind it for our units. But again, if you're having trouble with that type of skill, that is something that you do have to spend a little bit more time on with the subtraction. Okay, so right now we're going to look at addition and we're also going to review some subtraction with the compound units. So they're asking the total mass of the watermelon and the banana. So when I write it horizontally, this is what I get, and I want it in kilograms and grams. I'm going to show you two ways that you can look at this. I can stack the watermelon over the banana, but I need to line up my kilograms with their kilograms and my grams with the grams. Also notice the ones place, the tens place, and the hundreds place are lined up. So it's really important to do that. So when I'm adding and regrouping here, I realize that here, once you go above 1,000 grams, you're going to need to regroup and add it to the kilograms. And I'm going to go through this really slowly with other problems, but I wanted to show you this way when you're stacking. Now, some of you say, well, I could see that 3 kilograms plus 1 kilogram is 4 kilograms. And if I add 80 grams plus 960 grams, I get this number of grams. The key here is now to convert this into compound units, but you're not done. You need to do one more step. When you now add the 4 kilograms plus that 1 kilogram from here, and you're left with 40 grams left, this will be your final answer. It's 5 kilograms and 40 grams for the total mass of the watermelon and the banana. So you can certainly, when you're adding, if you want to combine your units this way and then combine all of your work together, or if you just want to stack it and line them up, you can do it that way too. So we'll be doing this back and forth today for today's lesson. Okay, so now let's look at if we're looking for the difference. Here it is again, horizontal. Don't forget they want it in compound units. The difference is telling me to subtract. So here I'm going to line it up again. Here are my kilograms. Here are my grams. I'm making sure all my place value, the digits in each place value is lined up. Right away, you probably realize, oh no, I can't take away 960 grams away from only 80 grams. Can't do that. So what I did here is I regrouped. I knew I needed to rename 3 kilograms and I changed it to 2 kilograms and added the 1,000 grams to my 80 grams. And we'll look at this even more closely. But when I do that and subtract, I get 120 grams and I'm left with 1 kilogram. Okay, so this was one way you can do that. Some of you are like, wait, I am just having a hard time renaming. I'm just going to convert all my compound units back to grams. That's fine. You can change 3 kilograms, 80 grams to 3,080 grams. You can convert 1 kilogram to 960 grams to 1,960 grams. That's totally fine too. So when you stack it, this might be a little bit easier for you to subtract. The important step here is then to go back to your compound units. So you need to realize that this is equivalent to 1 kilogram and 120 grams. So just keep that in mind, and we can look at that, right? You have 1,000, which is the same as 1 kilogram, and then you're left with 120 grams. So that's another way if you prefer that way. So let's look at this next problem. Here we have a bowl of onions and a bowl of tomatoes. They want the total mass, so we know we're adding. Here again, okay, your kilograms are lined up, your grams are lined up, and you realize I had to rename here. So let's look at that more closely. When you have 1,100 grams, right, once you go above 1,000, you know you had 1,000 plus 100. So that 1,000 you're going to make into 1 kilogram, which is right here, and you're left with the 1 grams. Okay, so that was for the addition part. Let's look at the subtraction part. Ooh, I like this problem because there's no regrouping, there's no renaming. Everything is lined up perfectly. So I'm left with 100 grams and I have 1 kilogram. So that's a little bit more straightforward. But notice when you stack them, how nice it can help you see the problem better. Now let's try this together. I want you to write down A, C, E, and G on a piece of paper. Notice that we have 2 problems with addition, 2 problems with subtraction. This is so important to always look at the operation that's used. And they want the answer in compound units, which means you're combining kilograms and grams. So I want you to write down the problems, stack them carefully, all 4 problems, and then I want you to pause the video and we will do these together and we'll go slowly through each of them to see how you do that. So pause the video and write the problems down first. Okay, if you unpause the video, that means you wrote down the problems and you stack them. So let's look at this. We have 3 kilograms and 2 kilograms. They're lined up, but we don't have any grams on this side of the equation. We only have 500 grams, and that's okay. So what I sometimes do is I might put just 0 grams just so that I know that there's nothing there. If you don't, it's fine. So that's pretty straightforward. There's no regrouping, no renaming. You have 500 grams, and then you have your 5 kilograms. So that's your final answer. Now it's going to get a little bit harder. So we have 3 kilograms and 100 grams. Look how nice I lined everything up. Right away, we could see we need to regroup here. So let's look at that. If we have 1,000 grams, we know that's 1,000 and 0 hundredths. So I need to convert that. I need my 1,000 grams to become 1 kilogram, which I show right here, and I'm left with 0 grams. So my final answer is 5 kilograms. You don't need to show the zeros here, so your final answer would look like this. Okay, let's look at E. Here I converted all to grams. Remember, this is just another way for some of you who are having trouble the other way. So I converted 3 kilograms to 10 grams to 3,010 grams, and I subtracted 200 grams. Okay, so again, you have to know how to rename. This might be just a separate issue that you might need practice, but we're assuming that all of you know how to subtract. So if you are subtracting correctly, you'll get 2,810 grams. And then your compound unit, you need to take an extra step to bring it back to compound units. So remember, let me see if I get my pen here, okay? 2,000 is the same as 2 kilograms, and then you're left with 810 grams. Okay, let's look at the next one. So that was one way, that was one strategy. For those that wrote out the compound units and stacked it, look how I renamed 3 kilograms. I renamed it to 2 kilograms, and then I put my 1,000 grams, added it to 10 grams. So I get 1,010, and then I subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0, 1 minus 0 is 1, 10 minus 2 is 8, and then my 2 kilograms. So these are 2 different strategies, and you will choose which one works better for you. G, I just stacked the compound units here. Again, I had to rename because I can't take 500 grams away from 250 grams. So I renamed 4 kilograms to 3 kilograms and 1,000 grams. I added 1,000 grams to get to 250 to get 1,250. When I subtract, 0 minus 0 is 0, 5 minus 0 is 5, 12 minus 5 is 7, and then 3 kilograms minus 1 kilogram is 2 kilograms. Okay, so what I want you to do right now, I want you to write B, D, F, and H. Sorry that they're not in order, it's just the way the workbook was lined up. I want you to write down these problems, solve them, and we're not going to go through each of them like we did for the last 4, but I will give you the answers, and it will be up to you to really look at your work and see if you got the same answers. If you didn't, where did you go wrong, and then check it more carefully. Okay, so pause the video and copy down these problems and answer them. Okay, so if you're unpausing, that means you are ready to check your answers. Here's your answers for B, D, F, and H. You might need to pause the video to look at the answers more carefully. If you got any wrong, please go back to your work. Look and see, did you add when you were supposed to add? Did you subtract where you were able to subtract? Did you regroup? Did you rename carefully? Okay, Let's continue. All right, this is going to be our last problem for today. Lily had a mass of 25 kilograms, 750 grams 2 years ago. Now she has a mass of 32 kilograms. So she gained weight. How much mass did she gain? I know you're not as familiar with kilograms. This is the metric unit. In the US, we use pounds and ounces. So I know it's hard to understand, like, what is 32 kilograms? Okay, so when I set up my problem and stack my like terms, my kilograms and my grams, I noticed right away I can't subtract 750 grams from nothing. Okay, I don't have any grams. So I need to rename. I need to rename 32 kilograms to 31 kilograms and 1,000 grams. Look here. Notice the value, it says equal. You're not changing the value. When you're renaming 32 kilograms, you need to rename it so it still equals 32 kilograms. So I broke it up to 31 kilograms. I added my 1,000 to my grams. Now here we go again, subtracting across these three zeros, which is more challenging. So I'm going to give you other methods that we learned from 2 days ago to help you with this. If you wanted to just do this using the algorithm, then here is your answer. I didn't show the renaming here, but I counted up. 27 counting up to 31 gives me 4 kilograms. So let's look at that. So let's just focus on the grams because that's our tough subtraction piece. I can just rename 1,000 to 9 hundredths plus 10 tenths. 750 is 7 hundredths plus 5 tenths. I'm left with 200 plus 5 tenths, which then gives me 250 grams. Don't forget your 4 kilograms. Okay, but that's only if you need to change it up because you're having a hard time subtracting. Let's look at a different way. If you use the number line, right, we're just focusing on the grams piece. If you want to count up from 750 to 1,000, count your jumps, 100, 200, 250. So we're back to that 250 grams. Don't forget your 4 kilograms for your final answer. So Lily gained 4 kilograms and 250 grams. Okay, I'm going to skip that one. Miss Luciano is going to do more word problems for you tomorrow. So today you're going to complete workbook pages 22 and 23. So please remember to look at everything, all the details. Your answers here are in compound units. The program shows it this way. This seems really tricky. I think stacking it is always nice to do. Addition you might find a little bit easier. Remember, you need to show your work. This is not work that can be done necessarily in your head. There's a lot of regrouping. So show us your work. If you're going to label page 22, 2A, 2B, 2C, take a picture of your work and put it under your math slides so we can see how you're setting up the work and we can guide you in any way possible. Also remember, you can combine your like terms, your kilograms with your kilograms and your grams with the grams. That's another way to do it. With addition, that's certainly much easier. Subtraction gets a little bit harder. So this page, page 23 of the subtraction, here you can subtract 850 minus 760, but something like this, 25 minus 480 grams, you're going to need to regroup. So show your work, show us how you get your answers. Good luck. This definitely looks more challenging, but I promise you, if you stack your numbers, show your work, you will do a great job. So please label, please make it neat, show us your work, and insert it to get full credit for both pages. Insert it under math so we can see your work. Okay, boys and girls, good luck, and reach out to your teachers if you have any questions.